Hey, welcome everybody to the Girl Camper webinar with Go Power Solar. I'm Lisa McDermott, and I am so excited to have you guys all here. And we're going to be joining the special webinar brought to us by our partnership with Go Power Solar. Whether you are a weekend warrior, a full-time traveler, or just really curious about solar, then today's session is going to be all about understanding solar power, batteries, inverters, everything you think about for RVing, and really how they can help all of us stay off grid longer and travel smarter. We're so excited to have Eva Mitic, my friend. I love her to death from Go Power, and she is a solar extraordinaire. She's going to be our presenter today with us. And she is an expert on solar power and power solutions. And she's going to break down all of the basics for us, how solar works, what you really need for your RV, and how to choose the right setup. Whether you're new to solar or you're looking to upgrade your system, Eva is going to answer all of your questions and help you feel confident about harnessing the power of the sun for all of your adventures. And if you have any questions after this presentation, we're going to be taking live questions. Or if you can't wait till then, you can also post a question in the chat and we can take it from there. So grab a cup of coffee or your lunch, depending on where you're at, get comfortable, and let's dive right into the world of RV solar. Eva, welcome. We can't wait to learn more from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to share this topic with all your readers and audience here. Solar and batteries, mobile power systems in general has been kind of my passion for the last almost decade. So I'm really excited to be able to speak on this topic with everybody. So we'll just kind of get started really quick here. Kind of explaining who I am, so you know who I am. Excuse the photos. I don't really like to take pictures of myself, and truth be told, I can't trust my husband to do it without hating them also. But I've been a girl camper since I was little. I've always loved camping, and now my current home base is in Victoria, British Columbia. You can usually find me hiking, paddle boarding, playing disc golf, and my dog Marley, she's a big slobber hound. You can see her on the right-hand side there. I have a background in journalism. I've always loved technology, and that kind of led me into a career in sustainable power solutions. And that led me to Go Power in 2017. My passion in life, like I said, is making techie things easier to understand. And so today we're going to go through some common concerns and recent trends in mobile power solutions. I'm going to explain how the systems actually work, the parts and pieces of them, the different types, and then who's going to work for who, how to size your system. And then the biggest part of what we're going to talk about today is frequently asked questions and common misconceptions about RV solar, lithium power systems, and the mobile power system in its entirety. So we're going to get started with some really common things that I think all of us kind of are concerned about, in today's travel and camping environment. Fuel costs being as high as they are, everyone is concerned about how much gas is costing these days, and looks like that is going to keep increasing. Maintenance and repairs is something that a lot of people have mentioned as a concern of theirs as well. Campground availability. There's not a whole ton of campgrounds out there, and more people are going out in their tents and their RVs and their vans, looking for campgrounds, and not all of them will have hookups. Internet connectivity. People are working remotely. People are, they're having more power requirements to stay connected with the world, especially if you have kids, or like I said, if you're working remotely. We've also got some trends that we're seeing a lot of in terms of sustainability and freedom. Off-grid camping over the last probably 5 or 10 years really has gone, up and to the right. There's been so many more people that are, they are driven by a desire for freedom, exploring more, going further off the grid. Again, also wanting to have that internet and the connectivity component with them while they're camping. And solar and lithium batteries have been a driving component of those as well. Solar has been around for a long time, but I think the mask of mystery is starting to come off of the solar panels a little bit. And more and more people are asking for that as a component for their camping setup. lithium batteries being kind of a newcomer into the game here has really changed the game as well, with it bringing in better efficiency, charging faster, being having a longer shelf life or a longer lifespan, sorry, to better support people going off grid for longer. Pardon me. So solar actually does help solve a lot of the problems that we just went over. That they uh, give you some savings in terms of extending battery life, the existing lead acid batteries by over 50%. They also have cost savings in terms of fuel. You don't have to use your generator anymore or as much to be able to charge your batteries. It does give you the freedom to explore remote off-grid locations. It's renewable. It's magic from the sun and going into a panel and then creating energy that charges your battery. It's pretty fantastic that way. And it's also quiet. You don't have to be, that guy at the campground running their generator right at breakfast while people are trying to eat their eggs. So it's definitely one of the biggest topics that I've had to speak on over the last couple of years, trying to educate more people to get into this technology. And so we're going to get started with how the power systems actually work. We have a really simple analogy about how to look at a power system. The solar panels are your gas station. So when you're driving your car, you roll up to your gas station, you start filling up your tank using the gas station. Solar panels, same sort of thing. The battery is the gas tank. That's where all of the energy that was being collected by the solar panels is going to go. The solar charge controller is the fuel shutoff valve. So when you've got your gas pump in your car, you walk away, answer a couple text messages, click, automatically shuts everything off from from overfilling your tank. That's what this guy does. And then the engine of the system itself is your power inverter. So you have all of this gas in here, all of this power in your battery, but you really want to be able to use it to run your lights, your fan, your TV, keep your fridge running, even sometimes run your air conditioner. That's where the inverter and the inverter charger comes in. And we're going to get started by, we're going to keep going with different types of solar panels that you can possibly get or see on the market. There are tons and tons and tons of different types of solar panels, but they're broken down into three different types. You've got the type that you see on your patio lights. Those are amorphous or SIGs. They're, I'm not going to lie, kind of junk. They're not great. They don't last very long. They're very cheap. And those ones are usually the ones that have the really flexible ones that you see kind of taped on the side of RVs. If you look at the center there, you'll see polycrystalline, which is a big step up and kind of the starter point for solar panel and solar cell technology. Polycrystalline is one of the most common. It has a 25-year lifespan, much better efficiency than the amorphous and SIGs. And then just past that is the best type of solar cell or solar panel that you will be able to get for your RV or your camping needs. Monocrystalline is kind of like a piece of oak. If you're likening it to a piece of wood, polycrystalline is kind of like a piece of press board or particle board, and amorphous is basically just sawdust packed into a solar panel. So after we're looking at our solar panels, we'll move into our batteries, the gas tanks, really the backbone of the system. And everybody knows, and I don't know, maybe loves or hates, the traditional lead acid battery. This thing's been around since the 1800s. It's the standard issue battery that you get from the dealership. It's the cheapest option. It's high maintenance. It has maybe a 1 or 2 year battery life, depending on how we take care of it. AGMs, absorbed glass mat batteries, significant upgrade in terms of lack of maintenance. They are still sensitive to depth of discharge, which we'll get into later. And they usually run between 200 and 250 250 cycles in their lifespan. Now, going back to lithium batteries, the game changer on the street here. Lithium has a significant upgrade, or is a significant upgrade to the traditional batteries. They're up to 60% lighter. They charge twice as fast. They've got built-in safety features that make sure that you're not overcharging, undercharging. They're not going over temperature, under temperature, tons of different features. Going past that, the advanced lithium batteries that have recently come out take all of the safety features and the solid workmanship of that lithium battery and added in Bluetooth, built-in heaters, built-in mounting options, and really just taken those up to the next level. Usually last about 10 to 15 years, depending on which brand you're looking at. One of the things that a lot of people have been concerned about lately have been their power use. And one thing that I would always recommend to have as a part of a mobile power system is to have a battery monitor or a battery manager available in that system so that people can understand whether it be you, your husband, your kids, they understand how much power is being used and how much power is going into the system. Highly recommend a battery monitor as a part of any mobile power system. Going back to the solar charge controllers, really quickly, there's two types of solar charge controllers. PWM, pulse width modulation, is perfect for smaller entry-level systems. It's low cost. It's super easy to use. Some of them have Bluetooth that you can use, sitting by the fire, with a cocktail in your hand, checking on your battery. And then if you're looking at more high power, more higher performance systems, you'd be looking at the MPPT side of things. MPPT are more in terms of cost, but they are higher performance. I won't get too far into the technical side of those things right now, but feel free to reach out to me or anybody on the Go Power team if you want to learn more about solar charge controllers. I mentioned power inverters earlier on. A power inverter simply takes, like I said, the power from the battery and translates it into something that you can use to power your electronics. We have two different main types: the modified sine wave, which is not recommended for RVs, so I'm not even really going to touch on those at all, and a pure sine wave, which is ideal for RVs. Pure sine wave power inverters create an exact replica of power that you would use at home. Your outlet on your kitchen counter will produce the exact same sine wave as the inverter on the right-hand side here. Pardon me. Two more accessories or components of a mobile power system that you should know about is a converter, which is basically a battery charger. Almost every RV has one. Most of the ones that you have installed on your RV when you purchase it is kind of junk. They're charged very slowly. They take a little bit more time to charge your battery, and it would be a good upgrade for anybody who just really wants to charge their batteries faster. And a transfer switch is a component that automatically switches between two sources of AC power. So if you're plugged in, it'll automatically have the shore power as the main component for battery charging. Or if you're turned off, then it'll automatically switch to using the inverter and battery power to pull power from. Now, there are units that have all of those components pulled into one, and they're called inverter chargers. Again, won't get too far into that right now. What you see here are both pure sine wave inverter chargers. If you want to learn more about those, feel free to reach out. Okay, so now that we got like the technical stuff done, hopefully I didn't lose you guys too quickly there. We're going to talk about how to size your system because this is the biggest component that we have, or rather the steepest learning curve for teaching people how to get into mobile power systems. And we have 5 essential questions for anybody who's looking to try and figure out how much solar they need. Number 1, what type of camping do you do? Do you like to boondock? Do you spend a lot of your time plugged in, or do you do kind of both? Trying to figure that out and making kind of a pros and cons list of each type of travel is a huge, huge benefit to starting your solar sizing journey. Who do you camp with? Like, what do you bring with you? So if you have, 3 kids that are just constantly on their switches or need to have their tablets charged a bunch of times, then that's obviously going to have a bigger power draw than somebody who just, brings their flashlights and their fans with them and just wants to make sure that they've got lights at the end of the day. While you're traveling, what type of activities do you do? Do you have a compressor that you use to pump up your power board? Do you have a wine fridge that you can't live without? Do you need that coffee first thing in the morning? Think about those types of things when you're looking at how to figure out how much power you're drawing on a daily basis. And then that translates into how long your typical trips are. Somebody who goes out for 1 to 2 nights it's going to have a very drastic different power requirement for somebody who goes out for five or more nights. And then for the RV owners out there, what type of RV do you own? Is it a little tiny one? Is it a motor coach that has 3 air conditioners and a washer dryer? Those are going to make big differences as well, especially when it comes to roof space and the availability of where you're going to be able to put your batteries. The lovely ladies at Girl Camper will also be sending this presentation out. So please feel free to rewatch it as well, because I know I will be going
Yeah,
quite quickly here.
it's expensive enough.
Awesome. Okay. Another way to look at how to size your system is what bucket you kind of fall in terms of power draws. So we've got all those questions asked. Now we're going to start looking at some common RVer profiles. People that have a small power draw, like I said, weekend trips, low power needs, they want to power their lights, their fans, a powered cooler, those types of basic 12-volt stuff, will have a smaller, read cheaper solar battery system than somebody who has a medium power draw, who's looking to run their microwave, have that coffee maker going in the morning, maybe even has a 12-volt fridge. And then going further from that, people with large power draws, people that are either full timing or out on the road for more than 7 days off the grid without charging, have a large power needs, and those ones are uh, typically the most expensive and largest systems that we size. Some quick solar sizing and the basic rules for how we size solar. The smaller power draws, the weekenders, 1 to 3 days, we're looking at 1 to 200 watts of solar, a PWM sort of system, or a portable solar kit with at least 100 amp hours of usable battery. So that could be 100 amp hours of lithium or 100 usable amp hours of AGM, which would be 2. Um, the medium power draws are in the middle, 4 to 7 days, between 400 and 600 watts of solar, depending on what type of power they draw. This is where we can start stepping into NPPT territory, where the solar kit that you purchase might be better off to run different wiring sequences. Again, we'll get into that today. But with that one, I would probably recommend a minimum of 300 amp hours of lithium. And then the big guy on the right-hand side here is the people who look like they want to run their air conditioner in July in the desert. And those ones are typically 1,000 watts of solar or more, and a minimum of at least 900 amp hours of lithium. We do have a calculator on gopowersolar.com that will be a very good starting point for anybody who's looking to try and size their systems. You can break it down by what type of RV you have, whether or not it's pre-wired for solar, what type of travel you do, and then what you like to bring with you. And usually what happens with this is people will go through it and they're like, okay, you need, 24 solar panels and 90 batteries. And okay, well, that's not going to happen. And then you go back and start paring down your power requirements and go through to find something that's manageable for not only your budget, but for the unit that you're installing the solar on. I had mentioned pre-wire programs before. GoPower is actually partnered with quite a few RV manufacturers to have solar either pre-installed or have the wiring actually a part of the unit. Solar on Board is a program where the unit actually it comes with a starter solar kit, PWM solar controller, and a solar panel on the roof. So all the wiring is done already. All you have to do is add a new battery, power inverter, and maybe a new panel on the top, or sorry, expansion panel on the top. Wired for solar, we have all the wirings are done in the walls, and then solar on the side is for the portable solar kits. Okay. The part that everyone has been waiting for me to talk about, frequently asked questions. What do I need to run my Boondocking? Looking at water pumps and lights, you only need the DC power components. You can get away with just a solar panel, solar controller, and a battery. Well, decent enough battery bank to get that done. If you want to have your blender to make margaritas or your coffee machine, like I said, you will need that power inverter. An easy rule for how much solar versus how much battery, like I said, for every 200 watts of solar that you use or need, you will have to have at least 100 amp hours of usable battery. So you compare a 200 watt solar panel with a 100 amp hour lithium battery or two 100 amp hour 12-volt AGM batteries. Going back to the AGM versus lithium thing, AGMs can only use half of their rated capacity, whereas lithiums can use the whole thing. One of the most common questions recently, can I run my 12-volt fridge off of a lithium battery? The answer is yes, but the real answer is it depends on how long you want to and what type of camping you do. So, and one thing that you'll notice with a lot of the answers that I'll give over the next little bit for the frequently asked questions is that it depends. If you want to go completely off grid with your fridge or your air conditioner or something like that, pardon me, then you will need to have to offset the draw from that fridge, the power that it's taking from your batteries, with solar going in throughout the day and making sure that you have enough battery capacity, a big enough gas tank to be able to support that appliance. So there is some math here. Feel free to screenshot it or come back and ask us questions about it later. But we're going to move into the next common question, which is, can I run my air conditioner off of a lithium battery? Again, the answer is yes. However, it really depends on how long you want to. If you're in Arizona in July, it's going to be a much bigger power draw than if you're in Seattle in April to run your air conditioner. I don't know why anyone would want to run their air conditioner in Seattle in April, but that's the comparison that came to my head. So again, it really depends on how long you want to run it, how much space you have on your roof, and what type of use you want to go with that. So again, feel free to screenshot that or come back later with some questions. Are lithium batteries plug and play into my current RV system? Honestly, they could be. It really depends on how old your RV is. Anything that's made probably after 2021 will very likely have a battery charger or a stock converter in the RV that is lithium compatible. One thing a lot of people forget about is if you have a unit with a starter battery and a house battery, you will have a DC to DC converter in there. And that also has to be compatible with lithium batteries. You can probably have an upgrade done on both of them, but double check that they are lithium compatible or have a custom voltage setting. The other thing to remember is that you might need to double check the battery box sizing and the location. I know quite a few units have like the battery box underneath the step on like by the chassis, which I personally would want to move into the unit because lithiums are high ticket items and they're big targets for theft. So that's one thing to think about as well. Pros and cons of mounted solar panels. Mounted solar panels are constantly charging. They're always exposed to sunlight and they provide consistent power, whether you're driving or you're parked, as long as you're not parked in the shade. There's no setup or takedown, so they're just there all the time. They're super efficient in terms of space. You don't really have to think about them. You're not going to have to lift up your mattress to take out the solar panel and set it up as soon as you get to camp. It's already done. They're less prone to theft because no one's really going to go up on your roof and try to, wrench off your solar panel. They do require insulation though. So there is a bit more of a DIY component on that. They aren't super flexible as well. I mean, flexible in terms of location. So you really have to plan your roof space on your RV and where the solar panels are going to go to avoid shading, thinking about how you back into or, pull in your trailer to your campsite. You don't want to have your solar panels directly under the trees where you guys are going to be sitting. Again, going back into the shade issues, performance can and will be affected by the roof obstructions and shading that we see at campsites. Leading into portable solar panels, way more flexible. You can pretty much put them wherever you want. A lot of them come with between a 12 and 30-foot extension cable, so you can just put them in the sunlight and you can leave your trailer in the shade, which is great. They're cheaper generally to kind of get you into the solar game. I personally use mine when I'm car camping as well to keep my Jeep's battery charged, so I don't even have to have an RV to use it. I know my father-in-law uses it for his boat as well. So they're super versatile. No installation. Obviously, you can take it wherever you go. It does require setup and takedown, which not exactly my favorite thing in the world to do, especially when I just want to sit by a fire and have a beer. But it's one of those things that kind of comes with the territory. They do take up some storage space, and some of them can be pretty heavy. Um, they are a big theft risk. People will, go camping and then set up their portable solar kit and then go paddleboarding for the day and come back and their solar panel's gone. Something to think about there too. I usually just put mine with a bike lock around the rim of my car, and then I can go wherever I want. The weather with these as well, they're not entirely weatherproof, a lot of them. So just be cognizant of that as well. One of the more common questions that we get recently is what the environmental benefits are for solar and lithium battery systems. Over the lifespan of a system, between 10 and 15 years, is the equivalent of taking a car off the road for about 5 to 6 years. So you're basically offsetting a family sedan for 5 to 6 years, which is crazy to me. Another metric that we've got over the last little bit of research that I've been doing is that over that lifespan, it the good quality solar system will save as much energy as 15 acres of forest generates. That's huge. So if you're looking at saving on emissions and like you want to go a little bit greener, this also includes the emissions that are generated when you're manufacturing the solar and the battery. So not only you're offsetting the generator costs and the generator fuel use, but you're also offsetting the actual manufacturing process of those units.
Eva, you're muted. Somehow
My
you're muted.
bad. Sorry about that. Where did I start? From the top. Um, Weather is another big question that we get about in terms of how effective a solar and battery system is. Sunny and warm is usually like the best time of the year for solar in terms of how quickly the solar panels generate power and how the batteries react to that power going into the batteries. Solar panels do work in the rain and in cloudy weather, but they don't really like snow. Uh, Snow will obstruct everything. Obviously, it's going to be covering the panel until it's clean. But the reflection off of snow will improve the power generation in the panels later. Um, in terms of extreme heat, solar panels do have decreased efficiency when they're overheating, but they also have increased efficiency in cold temperatures. But then the batteries are slightly slower in charging as well. So there's really like between April and I would say June in most areas in North America, you'll probably have a good pocket for those types of benefits based off of weather. How can I conserve power while off the grid? I mentioned before, a battery monitor is an amazing way to understand how much power you use and how much power you generate. One of the things that I like to do and to recommend to people is replacing any lights that they might have that they use in their outlets with LED fixtures. Anything that can be powered by a USB port or that's rechargeable, definitely a good switch. Low wattage appliances, definitely a good switch there too. Charging devices during the day while solar is charging the battery is also a big thing. So if you're going to be camping and you want to make sure that your kids are happy throughout the day, throughout the evening, I would probably charge all their stuff in the day while solar's charging the battery so that they have their full battery charge or their full batteries in their switch throughout the evening. Just like at home, unplugging any unused items, that toaster oven that's plugged in the kitchen, probably unplug it because it's still drawing power. Turning off your power inverter while not being used also will prevent what's called parasitic draws. And the same thing with the water pump and your heater. Cost savings. Another big component of what we're looking at here is, the almighty dollar. The average Okay, pardon me. The average girl camper who takes an extended 4-day trip 13 times from June to August would save them upwards of $6,500 a year if they're camping at a luxury campsite. So if you're thinking about 50 nights at campgrounds, boom, there's $5,000 right there. If you're looking at using a generator to recharge your batteries, that's about $1,500. That's maintenance, that's gas. Those two things right there will offset the cost of a very nice solar and lithium battery system. After the installation of that, installation and initial cost for the solar and lithium battery system, this is an annual savings that you would see. So you wouldn't have to pay for those campsite hookups. You wouldn't have to pay for that generator anymore. And the cost savings can be realized in between 1 and 2 years for a decent quality system. Talking a little bit more about cost and money. Going back to our small, medium, and large power draws. There's a lot of information here. I'm going to make it as quick as I can. The smaller systems, solar panel, 100 amp hour lithium battery, probably cost you about $1,100 to $1,400. Medium power systems, if you want a basic system, 2 solar panels, PWM controller, and the 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter with AGM batteries, about $4,000. If you want a smart system, about $5,500. Larger power draws, I would probably hazard at least $10,000 for people who want to run those air conditioners all the time. They have the residential refrigerators. These guys are going off grid for days, weeks at a time, or for 7 days, weeks at a time. And those are significant systems with significant investments. Again, also realizing some of the cost savings from before. One of the benefits, though, is that American citizens and people in the USA might be able to get some money back if they purchase a solar system, and which actually also includes batteries. Up to 30% can be a rebate on your taxes. If you talk to your accountant, there's what's called a renewable tax credit that you can apply for that can basically just give you some of your money back. So highly recommend talking to your tax professional or your accountant before you go down that road. But there's a link at the bottom of the slide there with a QR code to take you to the IRS form, as well as a Go Power Solar blog post about the tax credits. One of the other things that we like to cover is things to consider when choosing a supplier. Industry reputation. Look for companies with a strong reputation, certifications, companies that engineer up to standards that are marine standard, safety standards are really important to them. Warranty terms, same thing. Look for a company that's still going to be in business when you have to, if you have something that's going to be, or that goes wrong in, 10, 15 years, you want that company to still be around, right? Expertise, definitely look for a company to partner with that has been doing it for a long time. Support and communication as well is a big component of choosing a supplier that I think is very important. Not only for me personally, but for, any purchase that I make in my, any purchase that anyone should make. And there we are. That's mobile power systems in a nutshell.
That's fantastic. And I think you made a really good point there, Eva, about purchasing, from a reputable company that that's going to be around. There was recently in the news a thing about a lithium battery company for RVers that just went out of business. And so, cheap is not always the way to go. You do want someone that is going to stand the test of time and has a reputable product.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
we do have a bunch of questions. I think Risa was making notes of all of them. Did you get Sharon's too there about the Jackery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Why
I
don't
did.
you start with
I
her
did.
questions?
I'll start at the top. So Kirsten Veneziano asks, what's the difference between an inverter and a converter? And what does she need with solar and a lithium battery?
Yeah, no problem. So an inverter takes the power from the battery and translates it to power that you can use to power electronics. A converter is just a battery charger. They're not interchangeable. So the converter allows your battery to charge, and the inverter actually inverts the power into something that you can use.
Cool. Got it. And then I think to answer her question of what does she need, a good place to go is right onto Go Power's website, where they do have an RV solar calculator, and they can answer. You can plug in your your numbers there, and it can set you up with what systems you're going to need. So
Yeah, I'm sorry. I completely forgot about that second part there. Definitely a good call out there, Lisa. Thank you.
Lisa did put the link to the calculator in the chat, and that will also be emailed out to everybody
Perfect.
afterwards. So, all right, next
and
question.
I can speak from experience that GoPower's customer support is excellent. And I've used it in the past. We're trying to size up my own system, and they were extremely helpful and didn't make me feel stupid at all. So glad to hear it.
All right, next question. All right, Susan Kiefer. She has two Belletti AC70s that looks like 1,000 watts each. She's traveling with a 4x8 runaway camper.
Mhm.
She keeps one Bluetti in her car and one in her camper. Besides plugging it in, I want to use solar, but I don't know if I should choose portable, hard, or soft panels on my roof.
That's a great question. And there's probably a few more follow-up questions that I would need to accurately be able to answer that and send her in the right direction. So if you're able to reach out, I'm happy to find more information for you there.
So, Susan, if Susan Keeper is still on, please email Eva at Eva. What's your email address?
Oh, sorry, right. Eva.mitic, MITIC @dometic.com.
Okay. All right. Next question. Sharon Raymond is asking, an electric tea kettle, is that a medium or small power draw?
That one's a medium one, actually. One thing that I've learned very intimately is that anything that involves heating or cooling is a medium to large power draw. Heating coils in coffee makers and kettles, even if you get the low wattage ones, you'll probably be running between 700 and 1750 watts of power draw. So there's a really big breadth there, but I would probably land it in the middle, very similar to a microwave, which usually hits about 1500 as well.
All right. Somebody, Bonnie Marshall, and actually Bonnie and I are both in the same boat. The only solar she has is a trickle charger, and that's probably not even considered a starter system, right?
No, it's not.
And in my little trailer that I was telling you about beforehand, I literally have a deep cycle marine battery and a trickle charger. That's it.
Yeah. So those
and
are
that
really
runs
just,
off my mobile stuff.
yeah. And those are really, there's a benefit to having those systems for sure, because you can just drop in, replace things. You can add in a 200-watt panel on your roof if you have enough space. You usually come with a 10-amp solar controller, which gets you about 200 watts. And then you can drop in a lithium or an AGM battery to be able to replace that lead acid. And then you'll be able to start seeing some gains on your power usage available in those smaller units.
Yeah. And what's exciting to me is right now that lead acid batteries on the tongue of my camper. I would love to put it inside so I have room for a tongue box,
100%. And that's actually a good,
All right.
good segue into upgrading to a lithium as well. Bring that guy inside, and then you'll triple, if not quadruple, the available power that you have right now with that single battery.
Somebody else asked also, do lithium batteries need to be moved inside in cold temperatures like 10 degrees Fahrenheit?
It really depends on the battery. If it has a built-in heater to it, then it wouldn't have to. The only thing that lithium batteries don't like about cold weather is charging. They don't charge after a certain temperature threshold in terms of cold. So double check with your manufacturer specifications. They can be moved in. Definitely, if you want to, you're welcome to, but I don't think that's required. 10 degrees, it should still perform. It might be slower to charge though.
Gotcha. Just in colder temps.
Yes.
Is it,
Yeah.
but will they freeze? I guess is somebody asking will a lithium
Nope,
batteries freeze?
Nope. Lithium batteries will not freeze. They are susceptible to cold, like I said, but they won't freeze like the lead acid ones would. They, like I said, just will not charge. They won't accept a charge past a certain point. You can still use them. I wouldn't recommend anybody using them past -20 degrees anyways. but I don't know why I would be in my RV at -20 anyhow. So
Hey, if you like winter camping,
that's true.
All
It's true.
right.
That's not my forte.
All right. Somebody, Sharon Raymond asked, what is a Jackery and does it supply power like a battery, i.e. for using a refrigerator or coffee maker?
Yeah, so Jackery and somebody mentioned Blue Eddy and EcoFlow before are all portable power pack manufacturers. And so what they do is they combine a battery, a power inverter, and a solar controller into a box. Uh, Depending on the size of it, you can run a kettle or a coffee maker or something along those lines. Really large ones, you can run your RV fridges with or use as home backup power. But they have varying degrees or varying sizes that you would have to go through the sizing or the sizing exercise we just did with to try to figure out how much power you actually need.
We actually just did a podcast with Tony Bartha from Stressless Camping on portable power. I won't call them generators, but portable power packs. And so, yeah, if you have any questions on those, check out that podcast episode. It's also on our YouTube channel.
All right. Next question. What product can be used to safely clean solar panels?
That is a great question. I would recommend soft cloth, some dish soap, and just some water. Yep.
Dish
Really, it
cleans
depends.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. It really does. This is not a paid plug, but Dawn is my favorite dish soap of all time, and I highly recommend it for literally anything you need to clean it with. I just did my greasy barbecue with the Dawn Power stuff. Oh, it's amazing. So yeah, you just get up there every probably before you start your summer season and before you put it away, and then double check throughout your camping season. Just go up there with a bucket, soapy water bucket and a soft cloth, and spot clean where you can, and make sure you rinse off really good because the soap will leave some spots.
And residue.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Jane Lyon is asking, is my Victron Connect MPPT different from the battery monitor that you described?
That's a great
M-
question. I'm not entirely sure. Wait, sorry. Say the product name again.
Victron Connect MPPT.
Yes, it would be different. The MPPT is a solar charge controller. So that's regulating the power that's going from your solar panels into your batteries. The battery manager would be more of an overview of exactly what's going on in your batteries. So it would be giving you indications of how much power is going in and how much power is going out. Whereas your charge controller using the Victron Connect app would only be showing you how much solar is going into your battery.
Okay, we've got some more questions. Let's see. Terry is asking, I'm a small user. I will connect solar panels right to my two 6-volt batteries, or do I need a Jackery or some sort of portable power supply?
I would never recommend directly attaching a solar panel to a battery. There is no way for those batteries to say, stop, stop, I'm full, I'm full. So I
Oh,
highly
right.
recommend at least getting a solar charge controller in between those two pieces. And you're more than welcome to get a Jackery or a portable power box if you need it to charge your phones, your laptops, keep some lights running, or your power cooler. But if you've already got those two components, the solar power of the battery, I would probably just add an inverter to the system that you have and spend the money there instead of spending a couple $100 on a Jackery or a box that you know doesn't necessarily integrate into the system that you've already got. To each their own. If you want to be able to take that Jackery or that portable power box into your vehicle or going out tent camping or whatever else, then you can also do that too.
Now, I know some what they call suitcase solar panels have a built-in inverter or charge controller.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that's something to check on whatever you're buying. Just, if you're
Yes,
planning to do
100%.
that, then that would be okay in that scenario. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes. Very good
right.
call.
Somebody else is asking. We used an EcoFlow portable panels and a River 2 Pro for TV and Starlink, but the lead acid batteries don't keep up. with the power needed for their furnace. So I'm guessing they would need to upgrade from their lead acid batteries, I would guess.
I wholeheartedly agree. The upgrade from the lead acid is a requirement. And I'm probably going to hazard a guess that it's not your furnace that's drawing that power. It's the Starlink. Those things are power hungry. They are power hogs.
Really?
They are, yes, even the Eco one will draw as much as a small 12-volt fridge. So while you think that it might be your furnace, I would highly recommend looking at the other components in your power system right now. Again, battery monitor is like a very, very easy way to be able to figure that out. Before you were kind of having to go through like, all right, I ran my Starlink for 5 hours a day and my battery went down to this. That little piece will be able to figure it out for you. But yeah, that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I think we see in the market right now is that, you know, the Starlink is running and it says, 2 amps power consumption per hour. That's 2 amps AC. AC and DC are two very different things. When you see 2 amps AC or 2 amps on an AC appliance like Starlink, multiply that by 10. And that's the reality that's coming out of your battery. So that Starlink is drawing 20 amps out of your 100 amp hour battery. And if it's a lead acid, then you only have 50 amp hours available in that battery. So you've only got 2.5 hours max on that Starlink to be able to pull out that battery.
Hopefully, Bonnie, that
Wow,
answered your
that's
follow-up question too on would it be best to change the lithium for just the furnace? It sounds like it's best to change for lithium for everything.
Yeah, 100%.
everything. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We had some other questions. Do those costs that you shared, Eva, include installation? Or is this a DIY? Do you recommend people go to someplace to have these installed, or is it a DIY scenario?
It really depends. It really depends on your comfort level. I personally would never I married an electrician for a reason. So he would do a lot of the heavy lifting if I wanted to do a DIY. I would be able to do a solar power or solar panel, solar controller and battery install myself. No problem. But when it comes to the inverter side of things, that's where I get like, no, sorry, you can go do that. And I would be happy to pay for somebody to do that for me. They are DIY friendly. Most companies, Go Power included, have very detailed installation manuals to help everybody install should they need to. Installation costs were not included in the outlines that I had indicated on that slide a couple minutes or a little while ago there. Those are the DIY installation or the DIY costs.
Okay. There's a couple of questions in the Q&A box. It's giving me the option to answer live. I'm going to go ahead and click answer live. So
Yep, no problem. I've got time for a couple more.
awesome. For a new trailer that's still in warranty, if you modify your trailer, could this void your warranty? For
It
example,
depends on the warranty.
yeah.
If you're looking at installing a solar panel on the roof, I would recommend doing it through a reputable RV dealership. They would, namely the one that you probably purchased the unit from, they would be better positioned to answer that warranty question than I would. Most RV manufacturers, if they have solar installed on the roof, will be able, or at least a solar pre-wire program, will have a contingency in their warranty saying that you are able to install solar panels with a certified installer. So that is the big component there. You would have to find an installer that is certified, whether it be at a dealership or a mobile tech. That would not be a DIY friendly installation.
She actually commented to the effect of many people would try to put devices on things to lower the draw, like the AC unit. And that would definitely void your warranty. So it's definitely make sure you check into those things before you do anything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely do your research.
Okay.
That's not really a yes or no answer, unfortunately.
Yeah, she said, so modifying for solar without working with your dealership to ensure your warranty is not voided is crucial. It's important that you talk to somebody before you do that. So,
Definitely.
all right. Let's see. I've got a couple other questions here. Some of these are kind of detailed and specific. So Eva, I will email them to you directly and we will
Okay.
respond to those people individually because they're too detailed to go into on this chat.
Sure.
Okay. My trailer says solar ready and I plug my portable panel into a specific solar outlet, does that have the battery manager and battery monitor?
No, it wouldn't. No, that would be if you're
Does
talking, if
not.
it's one that's on the side, then like it won't have a battery manager or monitor on either the roof or on the side. That is a separate product solution entirely. What the solar ready port says is that the wiring is already ran from wherever on the unit you got your port. And then when you plug in the solar panel, you've got the panel, the charge controller, and then it goes to the battery. There would not be a pre-installation of any monitoring system in that at all.
So you need to make sure that's included in whatever kit you buy.
It wouldn't be included in the kit. It would be a separate thing on its own. Yeah.
On its own. Okay. All right. And I
For the
think
portable, sorry,
that might be
just to preface, it was the on the portable side of things. It wouldn't be included in the portable ones. Some rooftop solar kits would have it included, but for the portable side of things, the solar ready, the ground mounted ones, it would not be included.
understood. All right. Do you have any recommendations on power packs?
What type of power
Like,
pack?
This is probably meaning the
portable power solution.
Yeah, we've got so in the portable battery ones.
The yeah.
I do and I don't.
Like some people call it solar generator.
Yep, solar generators. There's a number of different companies out there. I don't personally have any recommendations, but it's definitely worth doing your research on which company you'd like to work with for sure.
Like I said, we just did a whole podcast episode on it. So I really encourage you to go find that on our YouTube video or in podcasts and watch and listen to that, because there was some really great information on that, on what to look for when you're considering a portable power pack. And we can put a link to that in.
We'll include that in our follow-up email to everybody. A link to that podcast, because we've referred to that a couple of different times. All right. Somebody's actually asking, are there more energy efficient AC units with a more gradual energy draw that you know of?
Yeah, there's technology that's increasing on, like, it seems like a weekly basis in terms of electronics. And with the RV air conditioners, the older ones, you can have a dampener called a soft start installed. I don't really know what models it would be limited to. But there are also 12-volt native, so DC native air conditioners, which would not require a power inverter to be used, much unlike the older guys. So definitely check out some of the emerging technologies for 12-volt systems and what's called a soft start.
And it's not the power so much that the AC uses as it's running. It's the big bolt of power that it needs to start is where the energy comes from. But there are changes that are happening in the AC landscape, leaps and bounds, that are making them more solar friendly. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at in a couple of years with that, or if not even a few months, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. I am not seeing any. I think we covered them all.
I think you and I think are seeing two different sets of questions, Rita, because I didn't see some of them you were asking.
There are questions in the webinar chat, and then there's also down on the bottom of your screen a Q&A section where folks had actually asked into the public Q&A chat. So there is one more question here, but again, I believe it's a little bit complicated. So I will, Eva, we will address that privately, and I will reply back to that person because it's a little bit too involved to cover verbally, I think.
Sounds good.
And
otherwise you'll see me doing mental math like this.
Yeah. So everybody still on.
Here's kind of a good one.
I will go back to questions.
Reese, I think we have got one here that I'd like to throw Eva. Bonnie asked that she has heard that some ZAMPs are reverse polarity. Is that a big problem? The ZAMPs are the control panels.
So the ZAMP control, or the ZAMP items that that it was a Bonnie was talking about, is actually the reverse polarity is actually at the battery ends. So it's not really that big of a deal. You just have to take a look at where the battery leads end. But definitely, again, speak with your RV dealer to see if that can be reversed. It's not that big of a deal. It can be fixed, but it definitely is something that's prevalent in the market today.
Sorry, I'm responding to a
And this
question.
presentation is being
And
recorded, and there will be a link to it in the
yes.
follow-up email that everybody will get, and it will be also on our Girl Camper YouTube channel. So you can watch it over and over again there.
All right. Does anybody have any other question? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is the name of the thing I need for my little solo camper solar panel plug so it doesn't overpower?
Overpower. I think you mean a solar charge
Charge
controller.
controller.
Yeah,
Charge controller. Yes. And Jane and somebody else both asked, could you touch on some power saving tips when you're boondocking? I think
absolutely.
that'll be our last question.
Yeah, and I did go over a couple of those a few slides ago, so I can go through them again really quickly here. But if you wanted to go back to take a look at the recording, some ways to conserve power are, again, replacing lights with either rechargeable or LED fixtures, charging your devices during the day. Make sure anything that's not being used is unplugged, and turning off your power inverter, water pump, any sort of onboard appliances that you might not be using, make sure those are turned off. Again, using a battery monitor is a great way to understand what's being used. So if you turn everything off and you still see that there's like 2 or 3 amps being drawn from the battery, that means you might have to do a little bit of detective work and go around and see exactly where that draw is coming from.
Yeah, like in my little camper, I need to unplug the TV.
Mhm.
I'm just double checking. Again, there's a couple of questions I will refer to you afterwards, but I don't see anything else that we can address right now. Lisa, do you see anything?
I don't really, but we sure
All
appreciate everybody
right.
coming on. This was our first time doing a
Yeah,
live
this is
webinar. I
great.
think it was really successful. We so appreciate everybody coming on and doing this. We're going to be looking at doing more of these in the future. So thank you. Eva, thank you as
Yes.
always. I always enjoy talking to you so much. You're such a wealth of knowledge. And I love how easily you explain things to someone who has such a non-engineering technical brain.
Hopefully I translated all those concepts, as easily as I could. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to get in touch with us. GoPowerSolar.com. Also take a look at the website. There is tons and tons of resources, blog posts, ebooks. There's calculators. There's a whole bunch of things that will kind of get you on your solar journey. And thank you again, ladies, for having me today. I really had a great time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent.
And if
All
you're
right.
not,
I'm going to
you
go
haven't
ahead
joined,
and end our webinar.
hey, wait a minute. If
Go
you
ahead.
haven't joined Girl Camper,
Uh,
check us out on our girlcamper.com website. Sign up to come to one of our events. We're going to have about 300 events this year. We've got some exciting ones planned. How about who wants to go camping in Hawaii? Yes, we actually have a trip to go camping in Hawaii posted. So that and a lot more. Anybody who wants to go hiking, I still have a couple spots left on my 125-mile through hike. Risa, I know you've got some great trips out there. So please check us out on the Grow Camper website and we will see you around the campfire. Thanks, everyone.